Defeating Mizuki. Naruto's first big moment with the Multi Shadow Clone Jutsu came right at the start of the story. A loud kid everyone looked down on, standing in the forest at night with a giant scroll strapped to his back. Mizuki, a shady teacher with the kind of smile that makes you want to punch him, had just revealed the truth about Naruto being the Nine Tails host. Iruka was hurt, Naruto was cornered, and things looked hopeless. But instead of running, Naruto flipped the script. He summoned not one, not two, but hundreds of orange clones that swarmed Mizuki like a hurricane. The scene was wild, trees shaking, Mizuki screaming, and Naruto copies dropping out of nowhere like ninja piñatas. It wasn't graceful, but it worked. Naruto overwhelmed Mizuki with pure chaos. That fight wasn't just about winning, it was the turning point where Iruka finally recognized Naruto as a real ninja. From being the outcast of the village to earning his first true acknowledgement, it all started with this jutsu. Multi Shadow Clone wasn't simply a flashy move here, it was the key that unlocked Naruto's journey as a shinobi. Now, if you've made it this far, welcome to the amazing world of anime. This is the place for true fans like you, where we celebrate all the magic, action, and emotions anime brings to our lives. You've watched, you've felt the hype, you've been lost in these beautiful fantasy worlds, but, have you hit that subscribe button yet? Right now, almost 90% of you are watching without subscribing. Just imagine, if everyone hits sub, we could build one of the strongest anime communities out there. So, go ahead, click that subscribe button right now so you won't miss any new episodes, deep dive breakdowns, or awesome anime content coming your way. Thank you so much. Battle against Gaara. Not long after, the same jutsu shaped another legendary fight, Naruto versus Gaara. This wasn't a schoolyard brawl anymore. This was Jinchuriki versus Jinchuriki. Gaara had gone full monster mode, transforming into Shukaku, a towering sand beast with a creepy grin. Sakura's life was in danger, the village was under attack, and Naruto had to act. So, what did he do? He went big. Naruto summoned thousands of clones, flooding the battlefield like an endless tide of orange. Each copy charged up Shukaku's body, swarming the massive tanuki like ants crawling up a giant. The anime really sold the moment. Clones climbing, leaping, punching in unison. It looked like a living wave crashing against a sand titan. But this wasn't just about brute force. Behind every strike, Naruto was trying to reach Gaara's heart. He knew what it felt like to be hated, to be alone, to carry a monster inside. And in one of the most emotional twists, Naruto used his fists, his words, and his sheer stubbornness to wake Gaara up. That battle didn't only save Konoha, it also saved Gaara from his own darkness, planting the seeds for their future friendship. Training the Rasengan. After fighting monsters, Naruto had to face an even scarier challenge. Homework from Jiraiya, the Rasengan. A technique so advanced it could take years to master. Most ninja would have cried, given up, or faked a sick day. Naruto, he just spammed clones. Here's the genius move. Every clone could practice a step of the Rasengan. One clone pops a water balloon. Another focuses on chakra rotation. Another works on stabilization. When they dispelled, all that knowledge came rushing back to Naruto instantly. Instead of years, he shaved the training down to days. It was like having a cheat code nobody else could use. The anime made this scene unforgettable. A wide field full of Narutos, each one struggling with balloons, rubber balls, and raw chakra until that swirling sphere of destruction finally came together. It was messy, funny, and brilliant all at once. This was where the Multi Shadow Clone Jutsu showed its true potential. No longer just for fighting or overwhelming enemies, it became Naruto's ultimate learning tool. Training the Rasenshuriken. When Naruto came back after 2 years of training, he wasn't the same little knucklehead anymore, but he wasn't done yet. The Rasengan was strong, sure, but against the monsters in Akatsuki, it needed an upgrade. Enter the Rasenshuriken. The problem? This technique was insane. Combining the Rasengan with wind nature chakra wasn't like putting peanut butter on bread. It was like trying to glue a hurricane into a ball. Most shinobi would have quit, or at least taken a couple of years. Naruto, though, he looked at the impossible task, shrugged, and thought, easy, I'll just just clone myself a few thousand times. And that's what he did. Imagine a whole field covered in Narutos, each one experimenting with wind chakra, popping balloons, slicing leaves, and blowing things up by accident. The anime turned it into a festival of orange chaos. From a distance, it looked like a Rasengan convention. But here's the thing, every mistake, every success, every single discovery was instantly fed back into the real Naruto when the clones vanished. In weeks, he pulled off what no other shinobi could have done in years. He created a weapon so destructive it could tear apart cells on a microscopic level. That's the Rasenshuriken. This was the turning point where Naruto stopped being the underdog and started being a true innovator. The battle against pain. The day Pain attacked Konoha was one of the darkest moments in the series. The village was reduced to rubble, lives were lost, and Naruto came back not as a boy, but as the last line of defense. Fresh from Sage Mode training, he had the weight of his master Jiraiya's death on his shoulders, and he faced not one, but 6 Pains, each with terrifying abilities. Now, here's where the Multi Shadow Clone Jutsu came into play. Naruto didn't rush in blind. He used clones as scouts, probes, and bait. Each clone tested the abilities of the paths of pain, gathering information so the real Naruto could adapt. Some clones charged in with Rasenshuriken, exploding like chakra bombs. Others served as distractions, pulling attention away so the main body could strike. And then there's the Sage Mode trick. Because Sage Mode had a time limit, Naruto came up with a brilliant strategy. He left clones behind in meditation, absorbing natural energy. When he dispelled them, the real Naruto instantly recharged. It was like having Sage Mode on tap, an endless supply line of raw power. Only Naruto could have pulled this off. The battlefield was chaos. Clones swarmed through the ruins of the leaf. Rasenshuriken flew like comets, and Naruto stood tall against a godlike enemy. And in the end, after all the fighting, he didn't just defeat Pain physically. He confronted Nagato and spoke to his heart. Multi Shadow Clone wasn't just a jutsu here. It was Naruto's way of carrying the will of countless voices. The will of his master, his friends, and the village. That day, he wasn't just the clown of Konoha. He became its hero. Against the White Zetsu army. And then came the war. Not a single fight, not a single opponent, but a battlefield that stretched across nations. Akatsuki unleashed the White Zetsu army, a clone army of its own, ready to drown the world in chaos. And guess who stood against them? The boy who mastered clones better than anyone else. Naruto, now bonded with Kurama, tapped into the Nine Tails chakra, and unleashed thousands of clones across the warfront. This wasn't just about numbers anymore. It was about leadership. Each clone fought on a different battlefield, protecting allies, smashing Zetsu, and spreading hope wherever it went. The screen was filled with orange cloaks blazing like wildfire, Rasengan blasts lighting up the night. What made this moment so powerful is that Naruto wasn't only fighting, he was inspiring. His clones gave strength to shinobi who had lost hope. He was no longer the outsider of Konoha. He was the rallying point for the entire shinobi alliance. It wasn't just a jutsu anymore. It was a movement, facing Kaguya. But just when you thought the war was over, the real boss stepped in. Kaguya Otsutsuki, the literal mother of chakra. Immortal, godlike, terrifying. She wasn't just a villain. She was the origin of all shinobi power. The battlefield shifted to surreal dimensions of lava, ice, and nothingness. Against her, even Naruto's immense strength seemed small. And yet, what did he do? He spammed clones, of course, thousands of them, filling the empty landscapes with orange chakra. They attacked from every angle, forcing Kaguya to react, to split her focus. It looked absurd, this godlike being swiping at an endless wave of orange knuckleheads. But that was Naruto's genius. He turned comedy into strategy. The peak moment? Naruto unleashed the Harem no Jutsu in the middle of this cosmic deathmatch. That's right. While Kaguya prepared to erase humanity, Naruto hit her with a swarm of transformed clones, each one a sexy distraction. And unbelievably, it worked. For just a moment, the god of chakra was caught off guard, giving Team 7 the precious opening they needed. The anime made it unforgettable. Entire dimensions filled with Naruto clones, some serious, some ridiculous, all of them united in one purpose: seal Kaguya, and save the world. What started as a prank technique to annoy his teachers now became part of humanity's final stand. Land of Tea Arcade. The Land of Tea arc gave us one of those side stories where Naruto's stubbornness really got to shine. The mission? Protect a runner in a political race. Yeah, not the kind of race Naruto imagined. Instead of outrunning enemies, they had to deal with Aoi Rokusho, a rogue ninja wielding the legendary Raijin sword. Think of it as a lightsaber, but cursed. Now, Aoi was no pushover, and Naruto had to step up. Cue the Multi Shadow Clone Jutsu. Hundreds of Narutos flooded the beach, surrounding Aoi and turning what could have been a one-sided beatdown into an orange storm of fists. The scene was chaotic, but also exciting. Waves crashing, clones diving in from every angle, all to protect innocent lives and keep the mission alive. Three Tails. Arc 1 of the most unusual moments in the Three Tails arc came when Naruto and Gurren were swallowed by Sanbi itself. Inside the giant turtle's stomach, the situation was grim. Gurren was badly wounded, and despite being enemies, Naruto didn't take advantage of her weakness. Instead, he protected her, even fending off mini Sanbi spawns that tried to attack. But the real highlight was how Naruto turned to his signature technique, the Multi Shadow Clone Jutsu, in a completely different way. This time, it wasn't about overwhelming an enemy with brute force. It was about survival and escape. Inside Sanbi's body, the environment was like a maze of flesh and chakra. Naruto created dozens of clones that scattered in all directions, each one running, searching, and mapping the bizarre landscape from the inside. Whenever a clone dispelled, the memories returned to him instantly, letting Naruto piece together a mental map of the beast's insides. It was a clever twist on the jutsu. Instead of using clones to fight, Naruto used them as a living search party. Step by step, he and Gurren were able to navigate through Sanbi's body, relying on the information gathered by his clones to find a way out. Six Tails Arc. This arc took us deep into the mist, both literally and emotionally. Naruto crossed paths with Utakata, the Jinchuriki of the Six Tails, a tragic figure carrying his own curse of loneliness. While Utakata was being hunted by enemy ninja, Naruto stepped in like he always does, clones first, questions later. The forest filled with fog, and suddenly hundreds of Narutos burst through it, swarming the hunters from every direction. The clones weren't just brawlers here, they acted like a coordinated squad, striking fast and retreating into the mist. It looked like guerrilla warfare, orange shadows darting in and out of the haze. But what really mattered was the bond. Protecting Utakata wasn't just another mission for Naruto. It was personal. He knew exactly what it meant to be hunted for something you never asked for. Mecha Naruto Arc. And then, we got one of the weirdest, funniest filler arcs in Naruto history, Mecha Naruto. Orochimaru apparently thought, why not build a robot Naruto? And somehow, that idea made it to screen. Naruto versus a mechanical version of himself in a comedy-filled showdown. How did our boy handle it? By making an army of clones, of course. Watching flesh and blood Naruto spam shadow clones against a steel-plated doppelganger was peak ridiculousness. The village streets filled with dozens of Narutos throwing fists, leaping around, and trying to overpower a literal walking tank. The battle is all about laughs. The clones turned the fight into slapstick chaos, proving that even the silliest scenario could become entertaining when Naruto was involved. Whether in serious battles or parody episodes, Multi Shadow Clone always delivered. Multi-sexy no jutsu. Before Naruto was taken seriously as a hero, he had another kind of signature move, the sexy jutsu. And when he combined it with Multi Shadow Clone, the result was chaos, the infamous Harem no Jutsu. He busted it out against Ibisu, his uptight instructor, summoning dozens of clones that transformed into attractive girls. Ebisu was done for instantly, nosebleed and all, Later, he even used it to mess with Jiraiya, who, let's be honest, probably didn't mind. It was Naruto's way of trolling authority, but also proving he could turn a silly idea into an effective distraction. It was ridiculous, it was over the top, and it made us laugh. But it also showed early on that Naruto's creativity with his clones had no limits. Reverse Harem no Jutsu. And then, the unthinkable happened. Naruto actually used Harem no Jutsu to save the world. Against Kaguya, Naruto unleashed not just clones, but a swarm of them transformed into women. For one hilarious moment, Kaguya was caught completely off guard. In the middle of a fight that spanned entire dimensions, Naruto won an opening not with raw power, but with pure comedy. The sight of hundreds of transformed clones filling the space around Kaguya was absurd, but it worked. This was peak Naruto, turning a gag technique into a legitimate strategy at the highest stakes possible. It was funny, it was creative, and it was iconic. Harem no Jutsu went from being a prank to becoming part of the final battle that saved the ninja world. Thank you for watching and see ya in the next video.